What's going on, guys? This is Bud's Bets, the opening line show. And, well, what do we do here? We try to provide value for you guys betting college football. Most of y'all are, I'm guessing, not professional bettors. And that means you don't really need to get down, tens of thousands of dollars per game. And if that's the case, you might as well go ahead and bet some of these games early. I really appreciate everybody turning your notifications on and joining us during NFL Sunday. And I understand this is a pretty niche audience that we have here. I don't think we're going to get thousands of people listening to this simultaneously, although a lot of y'all do go back and watch the show, which is certainly much appreciated. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go over a couple things here that we do and some housekeeping. Last weekend, I went 14-15, so disappointing, not great. However, on the season, 193 and 133, which is 59%. Against the spread. I do know some guys who run some pro gaming groups, and they did not have a great college weekend either, from what I understand. Now, I'm sure there are some out there who won. I did not. I know a couple of my buddies who are, I would consider, fairly sharp, but not great weekends for those either. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. We do games in rotation number order. So rotation number order is what we do. And I'm just going to go ahead. If you guys do not know what rotation number is, basically it's just the order in which they come down the rotation on the sheet. Cool. Yeah, a lot of folks got smoked this weekend. But 14-15, if that's your bad weekend, which I'm sure I'm going to have a worse one. I already have actually this year. Anyway, appreciate everybody joining in. Let's go ahead and get to these bets. As always, I'm only giving you what you can get right now as I do the show. I do have somebody who bets for me, and I cut them in, so I'm not having to put these in live for the most part, except when the offshores pop, if I was to do that. Hypothetically, of course. Let's go ahead and start with some Tuesday night football this week. That's right, Tuesday night football. Eastern Michigan, Toledo comes out 8 and 52.5. I don't really want anything to do with that. However, Ball State and Ball State and Akron, I went ahead and took the 20 there. So Akron plus the 20 in that ball game. Look, I understand that Akron has some quarterback issues and Ball State is okay, but I just don't think Ball State is quite as good as what they were last year. I also went ahead and took the 7 points in 305, Miami, Ohio, and Ohio. So plus 7 for me there with Miami, Ohio. If you guys are wondering, books out right now are DraftKings, WinBet. I think Caesars is starting to pop here. FanDuel is kind of weirdly straggling this week. So anyway, I would take Ohio at 7 or better. That's what that is right there. My number on Akron, I would actually take them 17 or better, and there's 20s pretty much across the board right now. Let's go ahead and go to no totals yet for those three as far as stuff that I actually want. I would take over 47, under 56 on Miami and Ohio. I would take over 50, under 60 on Ball State Akron. That's not going to get there probably. And then Eastern Michigan, Toledo, 52 is just right on my number. So not a lot of value there on the totals yet. However, I will say, just looking at what has come in so far in our counts, I have more totals plays this week than I do sides. Let's go ahead and go to Wednesday. Wednesday, I'm actually going to take the dog here again. I'm going to take the +5 in Northern Illinois. That's +5 in NIU. I think they can beat Kent State outright. I've not been super impressed with Kent State. I know Kent State has been improving in recent weeks. So we'll see about that one. And total-wise, I don't really want anything to do with that. 58.5 and 70 are mine, and the number is 66, 67. So no real value on that one for me. I am going to go ahead and take the 10 with Central Michigan. I don't think they should be a 10-point dog. Central Michigan was a team that I was fading in recent weeks. I took NIU on the money line to beat them, but that was because Central Michigan was pretty banged up. I think they're going to be a little bit healthier going into this ball game. Also taking under 64 in this one, under 64 in this game. So under 64 in Central Michigan and Western Michigan. Next up, let's go ahead and go to the Thursday night ball games. That is Georgia State and Louisiana Lafayette. This is kind of a weird one. I did go ahead and bet the 10.5, and I also bet the over 52.5 here. But I'm just kind of, man, like, no, excuse me. Actually, I got 53, not 52.5. So over 53 for me. I don't want to fudge that. Uh, I made this number 11 as my buy point. So 10.5, obviously a buy point. But also, I mean, I wonder if I'm missing something here because maybe I'm not. Maybe they're just making me take the 10.5 and they won't give me a 10. Cool. Some of you guys are at work listening. That's kind of cool. I don't know what you guys do on Sunday where you're able to work, but that's pretty cool there. All right, let's go ahead and go to the Friday games. We have two, Vatech BC and Utah Stanford. Let's start 3:15, Vatech and Boston College. My buy point here is 2.5, so I'm going to go ahead and take the minus 1.5 there with the Hokies. That's at the win. Apparently people are having some limit problems with the win today. So I guess if you win too much. Also going to take the over 46 in that game. So obviously I think BC wins by closer to a touchdown, and I think the game is played in the low 50s. I have had to adjust downward pretty hard here for Dennis Grosel. I think he's just a guy who's just not that great. But even still, it's not like Virginia Tech's defense is world beaters, and eventually BC has to figure out a way to score some points, I guess. But I have adjusted that downward, and that still flags as a play for me. I'm also going to just go ahead and live dangerously here. I'm going to go ahead and lay the road chalk here, -6 with Utah. I have adjusted Utah up quite a bit since the addition of Cam Rising. I think he's a pretty solid player there. No play on the total for me with Utah and Stanford. Somebody says, are you giving or taking in that Georgia State game? Excuse me, I'm taking Louisiana Lafayette. Taking, not giving. So, Bob, I appreciate the clarification on that. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and go to some of the next ones here. And I see some people are already moving stuff. Again, if you guys want to, you can email me, budelliottcfb@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at budelliott3. All right, that is the end of our weekday games here. And let's go ahead and go to the weekend games. November is kind of where the college football season is decided. And we will see if we can make some money on this. I do have a play in Army Air Force. I am playing over 37. That's over 37 in Army Air Force. I would not play that anything more than 38, right? So 38 is a key number. I do think Army's offense is okay. If this got up to like 45, I would play the under. So just for example there. Pitt Duke is an interesting one as well. WinBet posted a 17, but as far as I know, I have not been able to get that, and I don't know anybody else has either. So I'm not going to be able to give that one out to you guys. But I will say, if you can get that at WinBet, go ahead and go get it. But that's not on my sheet as it's being updated. So yeah, maybe there may be an account related issue there. Sometimes you just get the flywheel. And if I get that later, that I was able to get it, awesome. But if you guys can go get that, that's great. Anyway, 17 is the last number that I want to buy Pitt this week. I think Pitt has some injuries that concern me a little bit. Over under in that game, I want like over 61 or under 70, so there's nothing there for me. NC State, Florida State is the next one. It's 323, 324. I want to buy this basically at NC State, like 1.5. And I want to also take the over at 49.5 or under at 59.5. And right now, none of those are in range. So that's going to be a pass for me at the moment. Georgia Tech, Miami, showing 64.9. For me, that's a no play there on either side. Let's go ahead and go to 327, Wisconsin and Rutgers. Anybody in the chat able to get that Pitt -17? I think Duke may have just totally quit. So, yeah. So we'll see what happens there with that FSU line and Georgia Tech, Miami. I don't want anything. Wisconsin Rutgers is a It's just an ugly, ugly game. I want to play over 34 or under 40.5, and that's not going to happen right now because that line is 37.5. I would play Rutgers if I can get 2 touchdowns here. I would play Wisconsin if I can get a touchdown or better. That seems unlikely to happen for me. So going to pass on that for now. Clemson Louisville is a play for me. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and play the -3.5 plus 100. That's -3.5 plus 100 for Clemson at Louisville. I would actually buy that up to 6. Clemson's defense is really, really good. Louisville may have quit. We'll see. I don't know, but like I didn't love their effort in that game. I'm also going to be playing the over 44 in that game, despite the fact that I just talked about Clemson's defense. I do think they found something with Will Shipley. Clemson's offense is getting healthier. So I think Clemson wins that game, I don't know, 30-20. So, yeah, probably actually a little bit higher than that. All right, Louisiana Tech and UAB. Let's go ahead and see. Yeah, I look. Obviously, Clemson is that number does seem light. Could be a trap. Could not be. I'm not super worried about that. All right, which one are we on here, guys? Louisiana Tech and UAB. So I want 17 or better, or 9.5 or better. So nothing there for me. Over under. I want basically over 45.5, under 54.5. Just so you guys know. And that's not there. So that is going to be a pass game. Now, Iowa Northwestern also passing, like, big spread in that as far as what I want, right? Northwestern, I really don't trust to score on Iowa. Iowa, I also don't really trust to score, but the spread reflects that. And both these teams do capitalize on turnovers pretty well. So you could have some short fields, which could lead to scores even without the ball being moved effectively. I also don't think Northwestern's defense is actually all that good. So for me, it's a pass. If this got down to, well, it's never going to get to me. So never mind on that. Houston USF is a line that I've already seen people in the chat just jump all over. Look, USF was a little bit more competitive against ECU for part of the game. Houston is off a huge win over SMU. It's a travel spot for them. Not like USF's home stadium is anything special, but you do have to go on the road. I am actually passing on this one for right now. If I can get 10 flat, I would consider taking it. If you think that this is going to go the other way, Win has an 11 right now. So, we'll see what happens there. All right. 46.5, 56.5. And then total wise on that game, also nothing for me at the moment. There was a restaurant actually by my house when I was growing up, and they had a dessert called "Oh No, Nothing for Me, Thank You." Houston needs to win out to make their conference championship game, sure, but they don't necessarily have to blow. Like, you don't need style points to make the conference championship game, and like, that place was a madhouse last night. The P on my hat is actually for Puma. So I got a big old head and it fits my dome. Looks okay, I think. At least my wife doesn't give me crap about it. So, all right, let's go ahead and go Indiana, Michigan here. Some important injury updates, obviously, with the Indiana quarterbacks not traveling. Still, how does Michigan bounce back? They just lost another top 10 game under Jim Harbaugh. Narrative. I do think that is something you kind of got to think about. Like, are they really motivated to go smash Indiana? Indiana does still play hard for Tom Allen, but at this number, I have a pretty wide berth here. I want 14 or better, or 23. I'm not going to get that. If they wanted to hang a stupid number, I would take it, but that's really all I wanted to do there. So Wake Forest, North Carolina actually is a bet for me. I am taking North Carolina minus the 1 point. So I'm taking North Carolina minus a point. Over under on that game, I think, is very appropriately put at 77 or 72.5, 76.5. If you want the over, obviously, I don't think it's going to go down all that much. But yeah, that's my take on that. Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern is another good ball game here that we can watch. Interesting because Coastal, if you guys watched that, Grayson McCall got pretty dinged up in that game. Now, he did finish the game But he missed a series, and how much they really want to run him in this spot. They just need to win. They don't need to get a huge win. I want Coastal at like 14 or better, and I want Georgia Southern because I really don't trust them at 24 or better. But I am going to play something in this ball game. I am playing under 62.5 for the total. So I think both these teams understand how to stop option football concepts because they both, run some modified option football type stuff, and that's just something that I feel like is maybe not being accounted for totally in the spread here. All right, Tulane UCF. Tulane actually played fairly well yesterday against Cincinnati and uglied some things up. UCF took care of business. I am going to go ahead and play an over in this game, though, over 58. There is something I am working on a little bit. It's a factor I don't really want to get into right now because I feel like it may not be fully accounted for in these totals. But with these two, I am playing an over 58 in this ball game, and I feel like that should get home there. I don't really want anything for the side on that one. And the reason I'm not going to talk about it is because I just don't want everybody to start factoring it in, hopefully. All right. Did I skip Temple ECU? I don't think so. No, I don't recall skipping Temple ECU. Did I? Sorry, somebody in the chat said Temple ECU. I'll get there. I'm just going down the rotation number order. Illinois, Minnesota, it comes out at 15 and 43 and a half, guys. And I want basically 10 or 17. So that's a no for me. Over at 39, under at 46 and a half. So that's, again, a no. But that is one that could get into my range later on in the week, assuming that the reason it comes to my range isn't some sort of number, that's not accounted for, right? Cool. Let's go ahead and go to Tulsa and Cincinnati. Tulsa-Cincinnati, very disappointing game for Tulsa last weekend. Man, I really thought Montgomery was doing an okay job there, and then they go and they drop that one. Just disappointing. Sorry, I just saw something in the NFL game up there on one of my other screens here. So Tulsa-Cincinnati, I actually am going to go ahead and take the 25.5 with Tulsa at Cincy. I think Tulsa will play them fairly tough, but I'm not hammering this right now. For my record, I count them all the same because I'm not going to get into this guy did a 7-unit play and all that other stuff. But just telling you, don't go nuts on this on the 25.5. Because I do think that there is potentially a quit factor for Tulsa. And also, if Tulsa does quit, I think Cincinnati does need to run it up on them in order to keep that motivation for the playoff. So 25.5 for me there is what I'm going to take. And I would actually play that anything like 24 or better. Kansas State and Kansas, I want 27, and I want a lower scoring game here. I think Kansas State's defense is absolutely for real. So go ahead and give me the under 56.5. Sorry. Give me just a second here. All right. Cool. Let's go ahead and go to Florida and South Carolina. That's Florida, South Carolina. 19 and 52.5. Also see some 18s out there. If I got a 20, I would consider taking South Carolina. I think they might be okay quarterback situation wise. This opened like 56, I think, somewhere, and I'm not seeing it at all right now. So definitely not going to be adding that to the card. I think that was like a Vegas Insider opener. I didn't get any of that. So, all right. That's cool. But it'd be nice if it could. Anyway, under 56.5 would definitely be a play for me on that one. No idea how Florida's going to react. Also, can Florida score at all? We'll see. If you're new to the chat, again, guys, I'm just going to rotation number order. So pull up your book and check out the rotation number, and we will just go in order. That's the best way we can do this, so people can go back and rewatch the broadcast if you happen to be doing something on Sunday, which is probably trick or treating, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this about 15 minutes early today. So yeah, do a little trick or treating action and having some fun. My son wants to be a cowboy, so got him a cowboy outfit. Pretty cool. All right, Temple, East Carolina is the next one. I know we got asked about this. This I got some 17 here. There's no 17 left, but there are some 16s out there. So go ahead and give me 16 points there with Temple. I mean, look, maybe East Carolina blows them out of the water. Again, this is a team that could have quit. Don't go nuts on this, but 16 points for me with my numbers here is just too much to pass up. I don't really trust the East Carolina offense all that much. All right. Let me see. Liberty, Mississippi. Liberty, Mississippi is interesting. WinBet actually has 13.5 right there. Man, I got to say, I love WinBet posting some of these openers this week. That's pretty cool. But there are also some 10.5s out there. I didn't get in that 13.5 at WinBet, so I don't know what's going on with that right now. But we'll take that 10.5 with Liberty here for show purposes. 10.5 with Liberty, and then for the over under, I think 68.5 is roughly appropriate. I do wonder how much is Ole Miss. Is this game bigger for Hugh Freeze than it is for Ole Miss? I have to think so, right? I mean, my guess is yes. We'll see. By the way, Brennan Armstrong, yeah, I did see that he's banged up for Virginia, and yeah, Ole Miss did have quite a few injuries yesterday. All right, Baylor and TCU comes out 6, 58.5. There's also a 3 out there and a 58.5. They're also 59.5. So I'm going to go ahead and lock in the 59.5 here. I mean, I just keep betting under in Baylor and TCU and Texas games, and a lot of them go under. So doing it again. I just don't think that these teams play with a fast enough pace to justify some of these numbers. However, no bet for me on the side in that game. Penn State, Maryland. Excuse me. Penn State, Maryland. So 359, 360 on Penn State, Maryland. Again, if you guys have questions, you can drop them in the chat, obviously, and we will we'll get to them after I get done with the rotation. But we're making pretty good progress here through about 30 games so far in about 20 minutes. So not too bad. Penn State, Maryland, I don't have anything on this right now on the side. Again, if this gets up to like 13, I think I will probably go ahead and take it. However, I am going to fire under 56.5 in this one. It's under 56.5. Again, I don't really trust Penn State's offense all that much. Maryland is down a bunch of playmakers that you have to account for, including DeMoss and Jayshon Jones. If you're still operating on the idea that Maryland's offense is good, I don't think it actually is. Now, Maryland's defense is also kind of poor, so possible. But I think Penn State, with how they limit the big play, they do not allow explosives at a high rate, should be able to do a good job against this Maryland offense and limit it some. And I don't really trust this Penn State offense fully just yet. So we will see if Maryland can do its part in limiting some explosive plays here. Cool. Next game on the slate, Utah State, New Mexico State. I'm looking for 13.5 and 21.5, and I'm not getting it there. And I'm looking for over 62 and under 74, and I'm not getting that one at all. All right. Oregon State, Colorado is the next one on the list. That is 363, Oregon State, Colorado, and I'm looking for 3 or 11.5, and I'm not seeing that right now. And I'm looking for basically over 45.5 or under 54. I'm going to go ahead and play the under 55 there. So appreciate that. USC and Arizona State. USC, Arizona State. Cool. All right. USC, Arizona State. 365. I'm looking for 10 or 2 here. Obviously, Arizona State -2, USC +10. You guys may think that's ridiculous. And you know what? I don't totally disagree because I think that both these teams could quit, or maybe they already have quit. Who knows? USC lost Drake London. Arizona State didn't even bother to show up yesterday, right? For the game against Washington State. And I had Washington State, but I certainly didn't think they were going to win outright by multiple touchdowns. And Arizona State just didn't give a damn and looked like it wasn't prepared. USC was playing probably the worst offense in the Power Five, or one of them at least, given all the quarterback injuries, and they also couldn't do much. So I'm very much out on both these teams. If you think about it, I set this number pretty big. I mean, wanting 2 or better or 10 or better is pretty funny. All right. Cool. Now, North Texas Southern Miss here is a game that I actually am involved with. It's me. I am once again betting on Southern Miss. So, all right. I don't think North Texas should be laying points on the road to anybody. Okay. I didn't mind North Texas last week, but laying 5 on the road at Southern Miss, I don't think Southern Miss's defense is quite that bad. North Texas defense is atrocious. Who knows? Maybe Southern Miss can score some points there. I'm also looking for over 48.5 or under 58 in this game, and I don't think I'm going to get that. Well, no, actually, DraftKings just popped to 45, so I am going to get that. Nice. Missouri, Georgia here is up next. I really just want anything over 38 here. There's a 39, so in principle, I'm going to go ahead and take it. I mean, who knows? Maybe Georgia wins by 50, right? I can't seem to get there on that one. And the line may steam up, but I mean, how much do they really need to win by? You know, maybe they get some more of their backups in. They just came off that big Florida win. Also think under 59.5 here is a good play as well. So thinking about it, just a little more low scoring, more typical Georgia game in this one. I don't really know that. I don't really know like just how many points Missouri is going to score. If this finishes 45-3, that's a winner on one, and then I'll lose the juice on it. Interesting correlated parlay game in this one, by the way. If you guys have spots where you can get down on that. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next game here. App State and Arkansas State. App State get a little bit extra rest this week. And let me make sure I pull this up. All right, so App State, Arkansas State in this one. I'm looking for 17 or 28. I'm not going to get that. Looking for 63 or 75.5. Not going to get that. Next one, Ohio State and Nebraska. Ohio State, I want 12.5 or better. I got to admit, man, I think the quarterback for Penn State's terrible. And they had a lot of guys open again against Ohio State. I'm not really sure. Not really sure that they are going to be able to hold everybody down. But I'm also not really sure Nebraska's the team to take advantage of that through the air. Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. Maybe they've quit. Who knows? One I do want to jump on right now is, now that I'm down the sheet, because I think this is moving, I'm going to go ahead and take Tennessee plus 3.5 at plus 100 at Kentucky. That is number, where are we at here? That's 387. That actually opened, I think, 4.5, and plus 3.5, plus 100 for me for the show. Anyway, yeah, I think that's going to move maybe a decent bit. But Ohio State is not one that I really want at that price. Over under 59.5, 71 for me. 64.5 is right smack dab in the middle. That actually might be the exact number that I made it. So anyway, Mississippi State and Arkansas. I'm going to take the 5.5 points with Mississippi State. Like, they could check the ball around. Arkansas's got some guys in the secondary who are banged up. Yeah, okay. You want to give me some points there in a game that is likely to be kind of shootouty? I'll take it. No problem for that at all. All right. We already covered Wake UNC. You can just scroll back in the video. Again, we are going in rotation number order unless I like call out and jump a game. Let's see here. SMU Memphis is another one. We don't really know the status of Memphis's quarterback, so I'm not looking to jump in and bet this game. However, we did get to see what Memphis looked like with Peter Parrish. It is a much more run-heavy team when he is in there, which could lead to a bit of an underplay. But right now, that's not in range for me. I mean, I made this 63 and 75 and a half, so a huge split there, figuring that the only way I'm going to bet something in this game, given the uncertainty right now, is if they just throw a crazy number out. For the side, I'm not interested in this side right now. And I don't know how hard Memphis is going to, or excuse me, I don't know how hard SMU is going to come out and play after how it lost to Houston. So that kind of stinks. Navy, Notre Dame. I want to play Notre Dame at 17 or better. I don't think I'm going to get that. Navy's an improving football team. And the side is also a no play for me. South Alabama and Troy. Interesting game here. I really do not want to be betting Troy like at all anymore. Troy's coach just terrible against Coastal Carolina. However, I will go ahead and take the -2 with Troy. I know I already bet it, so I got to do it on the show too. I don't even like Troy, but South Alabama has been pretty damn inconsistent. Nothing for me on the side in that game. Rice Charlotte is a really interesting game here. Charlotte had a injury to their quarterback. I don't really trust James Foster a whole lot. Also, really don't trust Rice. Obviously, it kind of makes you wonder if that's going to stick around, if the QB is going to remain there. Yeah. By the way, Clemson is a pick'em at the win right now, so that is that's a great number if you can go get that. Yeah. See a couple of y'all are already betting Tennessee there on DraftKings. Anyway, so Rice Charlotte, is Rice done? Is it overcooked? Oh, I made a Rice joke. Okay. Anyway, well, I want nothing to do with this game right now as far as the side. However, I do think this is worth taking a look at. Right, look at the Rice schedule, see who they've played. You know, they just lost to North Texas in overtime, 30-24. Rice really has not scored very well so far this year. I mean, they put up 24 on Southern Miss. They put up 45 or 0, excuse me, against UTSA. I knew that sounded crazy. 7 against Houston. They did put up 30 on UAB in a very weird game. And then they put up 24 yesterday in a game that went overtime. I think Charlotte will be a little more run heavy here, most likely, regardless. So I'm going to go ahead and actually fire on the under here because there's some 53.5s hanging out. So go ahead and give me the under 53 there in Rice Charlotte. And let's just hope we get another under at a Charlotte like we did last week. All right. Joe Mixon is crushing it for my fantasy team, and I'm playing the guy who has Samaje Perine. So pretty cool. But I don't know if you guys play fantasy football, but my team has a losing record because I have allowed more points than the rest of the league, or than anybody else in the rest of the league by a full 100. So I've not really had great luck. I feel like everybody who plays me has a just career week. And this week, I was figuring it was going to be maybe Patrick Mahomes, but Cooper Kupp is going off against me. But I'm still I'm projected to win. So that's fairly cool. All right, let's go ahead and get the other ones out of the way here, and we will wrap up this broadcast. It's been a blast. Oklahoma State, West Virginia. I don't want anything on the side there, and I also do not want anything on the total. If that steams up a little bit, I will play like an under 52 in that, but it's not there just yet. I already told you Tennessee plus 3.5. If you guys are watching the show, you most likely already bet that down. I will also probably take an under in this game as I expect it to actually go up. Will Levis is horrendous. He's probably been the worst quarterback in the SEC over the last 5 weeks. And last night, deep into the third quarter, there was a moment in which his adjusted yards per attempt was actually negative 3.5, which means that he would have been much better just taking a knee each time he dropped back to pass, most likely, although I mean, you can argue the variance, I guess. But not from shotgun, because that would be, you'd already be a couple yards deep in the gun, and then you take a knee, and that would be worse. Just wanted to point that out, since a lot of these teams are gun teams, I guess. Anyway, that's kind of nerdy, but you guys are probably watching this because I'm a college football nerd and obsessed about this stuff all the time. All right, Tennessee, Kentucky already hit. UL Monroe and Texas State. UL Monroe is a team that is rapidly improving. Texas State is a team that I cannot seem to get away from. Their pace in this game is absolutely ridiculous. I am once again playing a total. Actually, no, I'm not. Oh, no, it didn't match up. I did not get that. I thought for sure he bet that. Cool. All right. So anyway, back where I was here with ULM and Texas State. I'm not playing a total. I'm not playing an over on ULM Texas State this week, which is shocking, right? Anyway, sorry about that. Betters are creepy, says Tom Reed. Okay, cool. ULM Texas State, as far as the side there, I want ULM at a touchdown or better. I'll take Texas State at the pick. Otherwise, I'm staying the hell away from that one. Texas, Iowa State, want nothing to do with the side. I actually will play the under in that game, under 58.5. I think this is a game that Iowa State keeps fairly ugly. A little bit concerned about how well West Virginia moved the ball against that Iowa State defense last week, and Oklahoma State had some success against it as well. But I still think Iowa State's defense is pretty darn strong. So going to play the under 58.5 in that ball game. Michigan State, Purdue. I got to do it, right? I have to take the 2.5. I totally understand what kind of spot this is in, right? Very public dog. Clearly not as good power ratings wise as its record. However, also need to point out that, Purdue's also not that great. And they lost yesterday in a game, or excuse me, they won yesterday in a game they probably should have lost. Purdue can hit explosive plays. Okay, Michigan State gives up a lot of explosive plays. I see how I lose this one, and yet at 2.5, I'm still going to take that. 3 would be the last number I would buy. If this goes to 4.5, or even 3.5, I don't really want it. Total wise in that game, it's a pass for me right now. But I could see maybe firing under if that steams up. Auburn, Texas A&M, I'm showing 5s and 4s. I'm going to go ahead and take Texas A&M and lay the 4 points in this game. Also, the over-under is kind of a dead zone for me there. But I'm going to go ahead and take the 4 with A&M. Let's think about who Auburn has played in recent weeks, right? Let's pull up the Auburn schedule here just to go over this with you real fast, and then I'm almost done. Promise. Spoiler makers are scary. Cool. So Auburn, they've played Georgia, and their offense didn't really do a damn thing against Georgia. They've played Arkansas. We talked on cover 3 all the time. I don't trust Arkansas's defense. They've played LSU, and again, LSU's defense is terrible. Georgia State and Ole Miss, which again does not have a good defense at all. I mean, just thinking about this, I'm really interested to see what Auburn does against the Texas A&M defensive front that I think is pretty damn good. And we saw against Georgia, they really couldn't do anything. Now, I like Auburn's defense. I think Auburn has a really good secondary. I'm not completely sold on Auburn's defensive line. If I lose this bet, it's likely because of that. But you are getting Jimbo off of a bye, right? Auburn is coming off another difficult game. They've played a difficult stretch, but they were off a bye before hosting Ole Miss, and I certainly liked them in that game. I wish I had more on that because of the whole potential suspensions rumors that were going on around there. Anyway, wow, Sam Darnold just got totally rocked. I'm going to go ahead and take the 4 here with A&M and lay it. Total wise, I don't want anything to do there. Sam brings up an interesting point here in the chat. He says, I'll be curious to see what the A&M first half team total is. The Auburn defense has been pretty bad early in games. Chris R says Jimbo's record off a bye at A&M actually isn't very good. To be honest, I don't put a lot of stock into that at all because the sample set is so small. I mean, Jimbo's been there, what? This is his 4th year. To me, that's just too small of a sample size, unless there's a specific reason that we think that he mishandles buys. Like there's a theory that air raid teams mishandle buys because they want to stay in rhythm in games, but ultimately that's not going to apply, obviously, to an A&M team that plays slow as hell and doesn't really chuck the ball around all that much. Cool. Let's go ahead and keep it going here. A couple more to go, and then I'm going to go do some trick-or-treating, I think. Middle Tennessee State and Western Kentucky. So my number here to buy this is 14.5. I have a little bit of 14.5. There's some 16 out there. I'm going to wait because I feel like this is probably going to hit 17. So for the show, I'm actually not going to put this in yet. Look for this in the Bud's Bets column. I think there's a decent chance this actually goes up. Could be wrong, but I guess Circa did open it at 17. But I after how Western played yesterday, I bet you this could go back up. But I do have some 14.5 there. Total wise in that game, nothing for me on it yet, but I could fire an under later on in that. Oregon, Washington, no play for me on the side, no play for me on the total. I think that number is pretty good. Cal, Arizona, actually, I'm very close to playing Cal in that one. I want an 11. WinBet has 11.5. So if an 11 shows, I will be taking that. Nothing to do with the side there for me. All right. Cool. Colorado State, Wyoming is 4.40 or 39.5. I'm going to go ahead and take Wyoming plus the 4 here. I really don't trust Colorado State all that much. I know this actually made a pretty strong move to the Colorado State side, so maybe Wyoming is just totally dead. We'll see, I guess. And I'm also going to play the over 39.5 because Colorado State, even though they're inefficient as hell, they do play with some tempo. Who's this quarterback for Carolina? That was a disaster of a play. Number 6. Did he pick that off? I don't think he did. That is crazy. Walker. Who is Walker quarterbacking for Carolina, guys? That's pretty remarkable there. Okay. UTSA and UTEP is another one here. UTSA, UTEP, and sorry about that. Let me pull my screen back up to see what we have and what's still available. All right, so it's showing 12, 12.5, 53, 52-ish. I want 10 or 17, so not getting that. 48.5, 58.5 is my spread there. So that's a pretty good line, in my opinion. No real value. Slightly in UTSA if I had to, but, All right, Marshall, FAU, 58.5. Marshall 1, FAU pick, kind of in that range. I'm actually going to go ahead and play Marshall at a pick here. I didn't bet against FAU last week. I did bet against FAU 2 weeks ago when I took Charlotte as a money line shot there, and that game definitely did not get home. No play for me on the total. I'm kind of looking for an under 63-ish. How many screens do I have? Cole asked. I have 4, but during a football day, I can take and I have an iPad I can use as well. All right, Boise State, Fresno, 60 and 5.5, 5. I think that's pretty solid. I will take Boise if I can get closer to a touchdown, but 5.5 is just not enough for me to pull the trigger right now, and that's not really something I want to get involved with at the moment. UNLV, New Mexico. I mean, good God, if you're betting this game, you probably have a problem, and maybe I have a problem because I'm betting New Mexico in this game. I am taking New Mexico minus the point. I really just do not trust UNLV at all here. Total wise, I'm fine with it, but go ahead and give me New Mexico at home against UNLV. I don't really trust UNLV's quarterback. If Brumfield plays, then maybe I'm cooked here. But he hasn't been a real threat to play in recent weeks. Apparently, he was throwing the ball a little bit at practice last week, but we'll see. Maybe they're trying to save him up. Maybe that coaching staff is trying to save him so they can get one win on the year. They're still a winless football team. 3 left: Old Dominion and FIU. I had Old Dominion last week, and they actually won outright. This week, I do not have a play on the side in that game. And total-wise, I also do not have a play. If that total gets steamed down, and Bush Davis apparently refused to talk to the media after the game yesterday, so who knows? Maybe he's getting, I don't know, maybe there's something going on there. But, we'll see. Anyway, if that gets steamed down, I might consider going to the over because I still don't think Old Dominion's defense is all that good. LSU, Bama, I want 30 with LSU if I want to take them. Otherwise, no thank you. And even then, I mean, that's just kind of a hold your nose type situation there. 64.5 for the total, 65. I think that's fine. If you gave me like 67.5, I would go ahead and pull the trigger and bet the under. San Jose State, Nevada. That's an interesting one for me. It's a pass right now on the side. I am going to take under 56.5 in that game though, and I understand like I'm betting against Carson Strong there, but I really don't like San Jose State's offense all that much. If you look at the UNLV Nevada game, I had under in that game, and the game flew over, and I really don't think it should have. If you pull up the box score for that, so I mean, look at this. UNLV Nevada box score, right? Absolutely ridiculous foolishness going on here. As a general rule of thumb, I like to think about it, just kind of eyeball it and say, okay, about 15 yards per point is kind of fair to see, okay, what should I have had there? What do I have, under 60 or under 58 or something like that, somewhere in that range. So they had 731 yards of offense total in the ball game. That should equate to about 48 points. That's 11 under what I bet, 59. That's crazy. Nevada's defense is not that bad. San Jose State's offense is pretty lacking right now. So anyway, under for me there. And then San Jose State, Hawaii, San Diego State, Hawaii is the final one. I want to take San Diego State minus 6.5. Not going to get there. And I don't want anything to do with the total. So that is my week, guys. All those in rotation number order. The only one that went out of order slightly was Tennessee because I thought that line was going to jump. And it did. So anyway, offshores look like they're coming out in a minute. I will see you all next time. Take care and make sure to watch the replay if you didn't. Everybody have a happy Halloween, and let's go ahead and get some winners this week. See y'all.